Hello, Eli here. Today we're going to be taking a look at a few things. If you're new to this series, I'll give you a little introduction. Basically, I take a look at a game, or in this case, two of them. SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom, and SpongeBob Truth or Square. I go over what makes them good or bad in my opinion. I also go over their engine choice and design decisions. I also go over the developer's history and go a bit in depth about their other games. First, let's start off with SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom, which was released in October 2003. It was released for the PlayStation 2, GameCube, Xbox, the very first one on Xbox One, and the very first Xbox, Microsoft Windows, and Game Boy Advance. It is worth noting that the Windows and Game Boy Advance versions differ greatly from their own console counterparts, though. The version I played was on the GameCube, and I've also played it on the PS2. The gameplay is your bog standard platform where you collect golden spatulas and you use those to unlock different areas in the game. I remember loving it when I was younger, and I still to this day remember it fondly. What made it special, though? Well, to be honest, it wasn't really revolutionary in terms of gameplay, but what made it so good was that it was the first game to really realize Bikini Bottom in a 3D digital world. Side-scrollers in the show itself are one thing, but being able to run around in the world that your favorite character does when you explore first-hand, or third-person in this case. It is especially special to a big SpongeBob fan like myself. On top of that, and possibly even more importantly, it was a solid platformer, and as you went along, you new abilities, and some new playable characters too. It also did well review-wise, and won a 2004 Kids' Choice Award for Favorite Video Game. Now let's talk about what's going on under the hood. Under the hood it runs renderware, which essentially helped developers developing for the PS2 to hit the ground running. I had a friend over on Discord help me better understand, so if I misexplain this, let me know. The general idea is that renderware provided a renderer which was not available early on in PS2 dev kits. This saved developers a lot of time, and additionally renderware was cross-platform and supported a variety of consoles available at the time. Next up we have SpongeBob Truth or Square, released in October 2009. Now, full disclosure, I'm going to be a bit more critical of this title as it's newer to me and I also have less nostalgia for it. With that said, I did go into playing it with an open mind. I'm not going to lie, at first I didn't really care for it, but as I kept playing it, it admittedly grew on me. The platforming is solid and the combat is somewhat satisfying. However, there are some things that keep it from being great, some of which include over-recycled content. If you've ever played SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom, you'll recognize plenty of reused things that are just reskinned or reanimated, such as music, models, and much more. I have no issue with game developers recycling content. As a matter of fact, it is fairly commonplace, and it makes sense to save time and money. But as a person who enjoys Battle for Bikini Bottom, I feel like it kind of went overboard a little bit. The biggest issue I have with the game is its lack of polish. If some things would be made less tedious or less downright glitchy, the game would be much better in my eyes. Some examples include, in some areas when a cutscene occurs, the player can still move, and if you aren't aware of this, it can kill you. Bad checkpoint placement. To be blunt, they are placed too few and too far away. The weird thing is that Battle for Bikini Bottom got this right. It had many checkpoint markers and had big explicit flags letting you know that you've activated one, so if you were to die, you know where you'd be respawned at. Annoying to outright bad enemy AI. This isn't so bad, but when you get into certain areas, enemy AI loves to crowd around you and corner you, and it's hard to get out, and sometimes if it's bad enough, you can even be stun locked temporarily. Downgraded tongue surfing. It's slow and it's just neutered compared to Battle for Bikini Bottom. Downgraded camera. It tends to get stuck on things such as level geometry, and it's generally a pain to work with. 30 FPS. I'm not sure why the game's capped at 30 FPS, but you can definitely feel it at times, and I don't see any reason why it couldn't have done 60 FPS. I suspect they couldn't keep it stable, so they locked it at 30 FPS, but that's just pure speculation on my part. I know I've been pretty hard on SpongeBob SquarePants Truth or Square, but honestly, it just feels like a downgrade to Battle for Bikini Bottom in some ways, and that just isn't the way it should be. However, the game isn't without a few good things. Number one being co-op play. I really feel like this should have been a thing in the original Battle for Bikini Bottom game, but I'm glad to see it in this game. It's a bit limited though. How it works is you play as Plankton, and you can essentially aim and zap enemies and do that sort of thing. Number two, it's really nice to be able to explore through old and classic memories of the show via the game. Level design is pretty good, if a bit small. It's great fun playing through the old memories though. I also feel like noting that the longer I played it, the more I enjoyed it, and I ultimately beat the game. Overall, I really wish I could call this a firm upgrade to Battle for Bikini Bottom, but in too many ways it feels like kind of a downgrade. That's not to say it isn't a fairly good platformer, but if there's one word to describe it, I'd just say it feels rushed. After all, it was made to roughly release alongside the TV special that came out. I'd also like to make it a point that games such as Battle for Bikini Bottom in particular, that not all licensed games are bad. I say that because there is a negative connotation with them, as they are typically associated with Rust, and are merely out to be a cash grab on a bigger name. And frankly, Trooper Square kind of fits that bill. I still sort of consider Trooper Square to be rushed, but the effort put in is there, but it just needed more polish, and that's the big key here. What I'm getting at is, if given the proper time for enough care put into the games, licensed games don't have to be bad, but unfortunately, the nature of the beast is, get a deadline, do this, do these set goals, and rush, you know, and yeah, it's an unfortunate situation with certain licensed titles. So finally I'm going to talk a tiny bit about Heavy Iron Studios. They typically make licensed games, and as you can see, with the right treatment, they can be very good. They used to be owned by THQ, but as of 2009, they are an independent company. Anyways, that's all I have for now, guys, and I appreciate you watching, and I hope you learned something new. And yeah, have a good one.